Yeah, it's right in here.
Where do you want this?
Yeah, put that anywhere. Doesn't really matter.
So, new place, huh?
Yeah. Should come by later. We're having a housewarming party.
Does this mean
No, I see where this is going.
party games?
Does not mean party games.
Alright, bro. You got to stop doing that. It's a lot harder than it looks.
Like, seriously, stop doing that!
What's up, everybody? Jose here. And yes, you heard correctly. This is Party Games 2, a sequel to our first Party Games video that we did a year ago. It's personally one of my favorites. You don't have to watch it to understand what's going on, but there's a clickable link right here. Actually, you probably should. It has a better intro than this one, because we're just gonna jump straight into the first game, Hail to the Chimp.
I hate you so much!
You're welcome!
Released in 2008, Hail to the Chimp was developed by Wide Load Games and published by, shit. Alright, I've reviewed a game by Gamecock Media before, and it wasn't good. But that was just one game. I mean, it doesn't mean that this game's gonna— Nope, it's bad. There's actually not much to say about this game other than it's just bad, but I'll do my best. The game plays as an arena brawler. You take control of one of the 10 animals that are competing to be the new president of the jungle. It appears the best way to do that, though, is to literally beat the crap out of your opponent and stuff the ballot boxes yourself. Now, I'm no politician, but violence and fraud is not how you win an election. Actually, that might be right. Anyways, Hail to the Chimp has you playing different rounds in order to win the primary or the game itself. These rounds consist of different gameplay types, from person with most votes win, to last man standing, to one that sort of reminds me of Reverse Eye. Either way, all of these are boring. They all play out the same way. Collect as much clams as you can, beat some out of your opponents if necessary, then spam the item button in order to use the clams for whatever reason they're there. Honestly, after a while, it starts to feel like you're playing the same thing over and over and over again. Even the arenas start to feel similar. The controls aren't too bad, but the characters feel sorta weird. I know it's hard to describe it without actually playing the game, though when you jump, it feels slow, like you lost all your momentum. The characters also feel generally heavy. I think it's best to say while the controls are simple, controlling the characters isn't. Speaking of the characters, they're all obnoxious and I do not care for them. The characters' voices either come off as generic or annoying. The game actually starts with this intro.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, allow me to introduce Hail to the Chimp. A game of nefarious cunning.
Yeah, this clam has to have one of the most annoying voices in video game, and none of the other character voices get any better.
This is the Floyd Challenge.
Here for our future.
Put on camera. Why do you think that?
My ability to change color is not flawed.
Ptolemy, boxers or briefs?
Alright, hold up. 1, why would you ask that? And 2, you can clearly see he's going commando. Nevertheless, by playing the campaign mode, you can understand a bit of a candidate's personality, their platform, and their political stance. Did I actually finish the campaign to learn about every character? No, I didn't, because I don't hate myself.
Hail to the Chimp is not fun. It might be for one game, but after that, it's just boring. I mean, it's more boring than watching paint dry or even watching C-SPAN itself. Anyways, with that one out of the way, it's time to go to Fusion Frenzy 2.
Yay! Wait, no!
You're welcome!
Fusion Frenzy 2!
The sequel to Fusion Frenzy, a game I went over in the last party game video, was still published by Microsoft Game Studios, though the developer changed from Blitz Game to Hudson Soft, the developers known for Mario Party games. No, the good Mario Party games. Yes, those. Now, Fusion Frenzy 2 is still a minigame compilation game, very much like the first, but there's been quite a bit of changes. Actually, cancel that. There's been a lot. The first thing you notice is a great deal of cosmetic changes. In the original, you were competing in a tournament throughout a city that had different zones. Each round had you playing through one of these zones, and the zone selected usually determined the general theme of the minigames that were going to be played. In the sequel, you're now playing on an intergalactic tournament traveling to different planets. The planets are basically the new zones. I have mixed feelings about this. There's no real reason for this setup. The first game didn't have much of a story, and honestly it was just about trying to find out who's best at minigames between you and your friends. In this one, there's actually a story about the Fusion Frenzy tournament being cancelled due to the extreme competitiveness. 4 years later, Earth is too overpopulated, so in order to convince people to immigrate to other planets, Fusion Frenzy was brought back to showcase them. While that isn't a horrible idea, the actual planets are horrible in description. Amuseth is the planet that has been made into a gigantic casino whose lights can be seen from outer space. Eternite is the area home to numerous clusters of asteroids and black holes. Blazer is the planet with intense volcanic activity that has constant eruptions. Yeah, I don't want to be in a place that never sleeps, live in a hellhole, or be sucked into a black hole. I'll deal with Earth, whose only real issue is that they are bored and overpopulated. Hell, the creativity of these planets' names are also horrendous. At least in the first game, the zones had generic names, but they weren't so upfront about their theme. Not like Icicle, the ice-based planet, or Moisture, the water-based planet. Like, seriously, you might as well call it Amuseth Roulette or Blazer Flame. I also don't like that in order to fit with the sci-fi theme, all the characters in the first game are brought back, but have been redesigned to be wearing generic spacesuits. I mean, Dub is no longer wearing headphones or looks like a cool DJ, he's just white. Well, he actually is wearing headphones, but you can't tell, because they've been surgically implanted in his ear. Yeah, the characters also got some futuristic backstories. In the first game, Zack was just a young player determined to be the best. Now, he's a guy hoping to win the Fusion Frenzy tournament in order to give back to the poor due to a large gap between the poor and rich that is a result of technology and population explosion. Yeah, these backstories are just unnecessary, and that's actually the best word to describe a lot of the new changes. Thankfully, the minigames are the best part about this game. Along with new minigames, some minigames from the first Fusion Frenzy have also returned. Overall, most of the minigames are generally enjoyable. They all control well, have simple instructions, and all look great. Though I can't say I enjoyed the removal of 2 versus 2 games, the winner chooses next game mechanic, the new point system, and the final game in each zone. In the first game, we had crystals that were used to keep track of scores in a zone. At the end of the zone, we could wager these crystals in a minigame called Fusion Frenzy, which was a fun arena brawler. In Fusion Frenzy 2, the crystals have been removed, and so has the wagering mechanic. Now there are actual points that are rewarded, and instead of wagering, you can use things called Frenzy cards. These cards have different effects, such as multiply the amount of points won, have a player choose the next minigame, steal someone's multiplier, or make a multiplier divide instead. There were quite a bit of situations where if a person successfully used a multiplier, it could become pretty obvious who was to win the planet. Wagering your crystals in the first game still gave it that sense that it was anyone's game. Plus, it was just more fun to wager your crystals in order to win, not just use cards. What also seemed unfair was the advantages given for the final minigame. Each planet has you playing 3 minigames before the final minigame, which is no longer Fusion Frenzy. Instead, it's usually a boring beat-em-up minigame. Now here's where it gets a little unfair. If you win any of the minigames before the final one, you get a special power-up. The 3 power-ups consist of one that strengthens your attack, one that strengthens your defense, and one that gives you a second chance by replenishing your health once it reaches 0. If someone gets all of these power-ups, or even just 2 of them, they will be difficult to take down in the final game. The Fusion Frenzy minigame in the first also had power-ups, but they were temporary and actually a part of the minigame. Now there's one more thing that annoyed us, and it's the most obvious annoyance. I mean, this was noted in a majority of the game's criticisms. I'm talking about the announcer. First off, look at this dude. This is the definition of a fashion faux pas. I don't care if it's in the future. You're not allowed to look like this. Ever. Secondly, Flamboyant Goku here is the definition of unnecessary. He's just used during the minigames to give it a game show-esque feel. And he will not shut up.
Player 4 got smoked. Oh, player 2 got smoked. Oh, player 4 got smoked.
Just thank God you can turn him down in the settings.
When Fusion Frenzy 2 was first released, it didn't get a lot of positive reviews. A lot of 2 out of 5s, and even Game Informer gave it its worst Game of the Year award, which honestly is a bit excessive. I mean, yeah, it's not the best game I've ever played, and it's slightly worse than Fusion Frenzy 1, but it's not the worst game ever. I mean, it's just mediocre.
You know, what is the worst game you've ever played?
Honestly, I cannot remember. I'm just thinking about how you didn't wash your hands. But either way, we're gonna move on to what we think is the best party game of last year, and it's still the best party game of this year. It's called the You Don't Know Jackbox Party Pack. This game has 5 different games, and what's cool is all these games can be controlled with a phone, a tablet, or a computer. Hell, if it has an internet connection like that, it can be used as a controller. Now, since there's 5 games here, we're gonna quickly review them one by one.
So I hear you're doing party games.
Where did you come from?
Upstairs, grappling hook.
What?
We're on the first floor.
Like I was saying, since we're doing party games with friends, can we do party
Where's
games?
the food?
That way.
Cool.
Can I do 2 games?
Sure.
How did you even climb this?
Let's start off with the first game in the You Don't Know Jack Party Pack. The titular game, You Don't Know Jack 2015 edition. This is a trivia game that can be played between 1 to 4 friends. Players get asked a trivia question with 4 multiple choice answers. You get points for not only choosing the correct answer, but for how fast you choose the answer. What's great about this game is the trivia isn't asked in a boring way, such as, what's the capital of Thailand? But instead it incorporates many pop culture and topical references to ask the question in a fun way. There are also many different types of questions that are all asked by the superb host of the game, Cookie Masterson, whose dialogue and script is well written. He's just an all-around fun and excellent announcer for this game.
If you ask me, they're the ones who should have to pose for a shaming picture. We left town without properly caging our dog, and he murdered a bunch of innocent people. Hilarious.
Fibbage is very much like You Don't Know Jack, except for the difference that you and your friends get to fill in crazy answers for those weird questions. So, when your friends are clever, you can get a weird trivia game. The game encourages this by awarding points based on the amount of people you fooled with your answer in addition to the points that you receive by finding the correct one. However, if your friends simply give racial insults or fun words for genitalia,
I thought of 7 more.
then it becomes much easier to find the correct answer. Though, if you can't come up with anything yourself, there is the ever-reliable Choose For Me button, which gives you a pretty believable answer for the cost of some points.
Word Spud is arguably the strangest one out of the pack. Word Spud plays for 2 to 8 players, and all the players do is play hot potato with the words. You start off with the word, and then you put an ending on it, and then players vote to see if it's good or bad. The good endings become new words, and you get points. But if it's bad, you get a new word, and you lose points. It's weird. It's one of those games you should probably just try with a couple of friends to see if you like it. I mean, we're definitely not doing it really justice here. The one thing I should point out is that the voting is completely subjective, so you can vote on a word for any reason, as well as the word choice is completely subjective. So you can put any word or phrase you really want up there, such as, "No more grappling hooks allowed!"
Ooh, well, someone's salty. Anyways, take Pictionary, give it some crack, and that's Drawful in a nutshell. Everybody gets to draw a random object, and then people try to guess what it is. Like Fibbage, everyone except for the person who draws it makes up some title for the drawing to fool other players. If your title is selected, you're the only one who gets points. If the correct title is chosen, everybody who selects it and the drawer gets points. Oh, and there's one teensy little note I'd like to say about drawing. You can't erase. Which means you're gonna start drawing, mess up, have an internal crisis, try to fix it, accidentally draw a penis, make some chicken scratch, and in the end, you'll wind up with a wonderfully awful drawing.
The last game in the pack is Lie Swatter. This is a trivia game that asks true or false questions. Now the trivia is not as creative as You Don't Know Jack, and the announcer isn't as funny as Cookie Masterson. But the thing that makes this game stand out is that you can play this game by yourself or with 100 people. I surely doubt you'll ever have anywhere close to 100 people cramped on a couch playing this game at one time. I'm also pretty sure that's an unofficial orgy at that point. You can, however, stream this game and have your audience in on the fun as well. In fact, most of these games are great for streaming. You just need to give out the website to go to and the room code that the game provides. Lie Swatter is just the game that has the most interaction in the pack. Before we move on, I should also mention that You Don't Know Jack Games released another small game this year called Quiplash. It's a fun game where players answer questions with any response they want. The responses are then put into head-to-head battles where other players vote on the better response. Now only 3 to 8 people can actually play by inputting answers, but other players can be members of the audience and still vote on the responses. You Don't Know Jack's website boasts that Quiplash can support 10,000 people in the audience. I could argue that this is an even better game for streaming than Liveswatter. The only thing is that Quiplash does not come in the You Don't Know Jack party pack.
So that's it for party games, everybody, and we just want to say this video is a little special to us because this is our anniversary video. The day this video is posted,
Hopefully.
Yep, hopefully, it'll be the 2nd year we've started doing videos since we started posting them. And we just want to say thanks you guys for watching and subscribing and commenting. Maybe not so much on that last one, but thanks. And you know, we hope to do this for 2 more years and even more and do some more cool stuff. But that's all we can say. So, you know, gather some friends, or if you don't have any, kidnap some homeless people and just play some great party games. Till then, we'll see you guys next time.
And cut! Cool. Yay, we did it!
Yay.
Dance party!
Dance off.
Oh, too much.
That's on the AC.
Alright, we're good.